What's up, family? Hope everyone's having a good evening. Hope you're enjoying yourselves, having a great time. For all of you having a birthday, happy birthday. For all of you having any other special days, I want to say I hope you enjoyed your day today. So as you can see about this video, we're talking about Massey Yardley Chrysler Plymouth. As a matter of fact, anyone who has an issue with dealerships in general, anyone who has any other problems with car dealerships, salesmen, liars, even if you don't visit a car dealership, even if it's just any retail establishment, go ahead and put in the comments what you feel about them, how you feel they robbed you, lied to you, etc. I'm going to give you some insight on my recent trip to Massey Yardley. Don't get me wrong, I liked the vehicle I got, and it was almost perfect. Wasn't any problems with it. I have my own mechanic check it out. And if you're going to buy a car, bring your own mechanic. Make sure you bring your own mechanic to do your own testing. Anyways, I want you to like, subscribe, share, and visit the site. Look at the gear, look at the clothes. Shop to your heart's content. I'll be right back with some more details. So this is about Massey Yardley Chrysler Plymouth. For those who don't know, they're over here in Plantation on 441 and Sunrise Boulevard, right next to Rick Case Acura. So I know that car dealerships usually are liars. They don't usually tell the truth. Everyone feels that they're just a bad omen altogether. But these people they're liars. I don't know how the Massey family feels about this. Maybe they go along with it. Maybe they encourage the lying. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know them, so I don't portray that I'm knowledgeable of what goes on in that dealership. All I know is that the person I spoke to, who is one Alex Mulan, is a liar. He can say what he wants to say, but when you see this video and you see what else he has done or has said, rather, or not lived up to what he said, you'll see what I'm talking about. And just so you know, I do know that when you go to a dealership, you need to do all your research, you do all your background studying, whatever. You know if they're liars, and if they try to pull wool over your eyes, so to speak. I know that. I had my own mechanic and I had my own financing, so I really didn't care what they did. I saw the vehicle, I liked the vehicle, and that's that. Anyways, I got my notes here because it's not really a lot, but I'm very detailed in what I do, so I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna just talk about what happened. So on day one, July 9th, we went to the dealership. I saw a 2017 Yukon XL Denali. I wanted to buy that for my wife. It was a nice vehicle. When we arrived at the dealership, he was actually helping two other people. When he finished with them, he came back to us. Then he took us for a test drive in the vehicle, which I already know how the Denalis ride. They're really nice. Then he stopped, and there's a neighborhood behind the dealership, Plantation. For all those who know the area already, you know that behind the dealership is Plantation. They take you on that little route, that U-turn, that box U-turn, then goes back to the dealership. So I got in, I drove for a while. I drove back to the dealership. Then he got out, came in. Then he started talking to us about the car. So let me look for my notes. Let me pick up where that is right there. Okay, so he continued to tell us about the truck. He said that it was taken care of. It was owned by an executive who had a driver who drove him around. He was, the type of person who didn't drive himself. I won't go into details about the executive because he didn't do anything to me. So his identity remains a mystery, so to speak. So he mentioned a price that I wasn't comfortable with. At that point, I was already ready to leave. I told my wife, I'm ready to go. I told him, Alex Mulan, that I don't mind leaving the truck there. And then he kept trying to tell me that they're going to send it to auction and all these other things. Fine, whatever. I didn't care. because that price is not what I was comfortable with. So we did negotiate some more. He finally came down to a price where I was comfortable. So, long story short, the offer was made. Everyone agreed. So then he said that the service department would have to go through a 120-point checklist, and then the vehicle would be detailed. That's fine. I told him that I don't know his mechanics or his service team, and whatever they do, my mechanic would still have to look at the vehicle and check it and make sure nothing's wrong with it. Oh, sorry about that. I think one of my children's sending me a message. Nope. That's my wife. All right, so let me get back to what I was saying. So he said if anything is wrong, he'll bring it back and he'll have his service team fix it, which again is a lie, as I found out. So we told him that, we'd take the vehicle. I said that, well, not really, but my wife, she told me that she liked the vehicle, but she was going to leave it up to me. At that point, I had already decided that I liked the vehicle. The fact that it had low miles was already a good thing. So, he basically suggested that we try to find if we can get more money from the bank, so I didn't have to go through their financing. Because we got, like I said, we got financing, but it was a little bit lower than where we needed to be for the truck. So we talked to the bank. That wasn't an issue. They gave us whatever. That's no problem at all. So then we gave him a small deposit. It wasn't a big one. I gave him a small deposit to hold the vehicle so that no one would take it, no one would show it, no one would send it to an auction or whatever. So then we left the evening and we talked to the bank. And like I said, everything with that was already handled. No problem. So on day 2, which was September 10th, 2023. That was a Sunday. I called. I told him everything. Actually, I sent an email and a text message. Told him everything was good and we'd be there Monday evening to pick up the truck. I also told him I wanted to just be sure that all the electronics worked, but he never replied to the email, as you can see right here. In fact, let me move myself out of the way so you can see it better. All right. So on day 3, I called Alex and he said he did receive the message. I don't know how true that is because he never got back to me. But where is it? Nope, I'm skipping ahead. Hold on one second. All right, there we go. Excuse me. So I called him to let him know on day 3. I called him, which was September 11th, 2023. I called him to let him know that we're going to pick up the vehicle. All right. So that's when he said service has been behind. They have the truck in service, but after that, they'll send it to detail and we can pick it up. So I didn't get it that day.
Alex, help you.
Hey, Alex, how you doing? This is Jermaine. I was there on...
Jermaine, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine. How are you?
How is everything?
It's good. It's good. We talked to the bank. They did give her the... And I have the down.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the... For the Yukon.
Okay. But it's not the... How?
Well, you said to see if they would give her more, right? We got...
I understand, but there's a tax tag, registration as well. I told you that.
Well, that I know. I'm going to pay for that myself.
Fantastic.
So the here, they said no later than...
That's no problem. You see, the thing is, what you could come here,
Yeah.
I deliver it for you, and I could wait for the check. That's no problem. But you see, I don't tell you that they're going to see what I could do for you.
Yeah, I know.
The last thing they could do is that's what they have in it.
Okay, so is what they have without the tax and
Correct.
title.
And that is better for you than the or you save almost $1.
Yeah.
The car is like if they clean it and I put it in the lot, they're gonna add close to.
Yeah, I know. That I know. All right, so is the final.
Correct.
Right. All right.
Correct.
Okay, so.
I'll tell you exactly before you go. I'm gonna tell you exactly, my friend.
Yep.
Let me show you.
Yep.
Plus your 28 plus your 7% tax. That
Yep.
and the tax transfer, right?
Yep.
Okay, you have a tag already, right?
Yeah, we do. All right.
Minus your what?
Yeah.
You have to come up with this from your pocket. That's the tax.
All right.
All right. That's exactly to the penny.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So if you said yes, we're gonna continue because the already is in the shop.
All right. Okay, so that's fine. Well, we'll pick it up. What time do you close on weekdays?
Today is at 6 o'clock.
6? All right, so we can probably be there. It will either be today or tomorrow that will come in.
All right, so I'm going to continue then what I have to do. I mean, they have in the service right now. I take it from the service. They're going to go to the detail.
Yep.
And then after that, tomorrow probably going to come when I deliver.
All right, so I'm not anywhere I can write it down. So say that one more time. And what?
You give me a.
Okay, got it.
Correct.
All right then.
Because you don't have to forget there's.
Yep. All right then. No problem.
Remember?
Yep. All right then. Yep.
On day 4, which was September 12th, 2023, which is the Tuesday, we arrived at the dealership and they had moved the vehicle and parked it right outside the showroom doors. For anyone who's been there, there's some double doors that open, how they bring cars inside. They parked the truck right out there on the ramp. So that's where it was. It was cleaner, but I don't think they put a lot of effort into complete detail. So we began the transaction. Alex said he returned some money because he thought I overpaid, which, free money is always good money. Thought he overpaid, no problem. So I welcomed the money back. It was weird to me because I had everything calculated to the penny. And to me, everything was perfect the way it was. But he said I overpaid by, not the deposit amount, but he did say I overpaid. So whatever, I overpaid. So more on that in a second. So we went into the finance office and, where the real deal actually starts. The finance manager or whoever he was, I don't know, but he saw a mistake in the system. He thought I was going to come up with more money down or more money for a down payment, which doesn't make sense. So like I said, everything was calculated to the penny. He had me hold on a minute and he went to check with his manager. The manager came in, he saw the mistake. It was somewhere in the price of the vehicle. They wanted more for the vehicle than we had agreed on. But he fixed that. He showed me the screen, and I did see that the money that was given back to me was actually supposed to go to them. So I was right. All my calculations were perfect. So that's not a problem. That was fine the way it was. So he continued. He showed me a warranty. That was only 36,000 more miles than that was on it. So I didn't, I mean, I'm not going to take the warranty of the dealership. I mean, everyone knows not to do that. So that's no problem. We completed the transaction. We gave our goodbyes. Alex said to let him know if I'm in the market again. So in the future, if I'm buying another vehicle, he wanted me to come back to him so he could find the vehicle for me. That will never happen again. Just so you know, Alex, or whoever's watching this at Massey Yardley, I'm never coming back to your dealership. And you'll see why as I continue to go through this video. So that night, we dropped off the other car and we drove straight to our mechanic. He checked the vehicle. He said the vehicle's in good condition. There's nothing that needs to be immediately done. So he did suggest some normal wear and tear things like brake pads and things like that. He said the brake pads were about 90%, even though Alex told me he was going to have them change the brake pads and put new ones on. So there's that. Anyways, the only issue he found was that the starter wasn't functioning the way it should be. Like sometimes it would start, or actually I'm wrong. It started every time we tried to start it, but then again, we only started it like maybe 4 times the whole time. So we went there. He did a thorough search. When he actually pulled the truck back down off the lift. He lowered the lift rather, and he tried to start the truck, but it wouldn't start. So for about 30 minutes, we were there, and the truck would not start. So he put the truck back up, and he did something to the starter. I mean, I'm not a mechanic, so I don't know what he did. But from my perspective, it looks like he tested it to see if the starter had an issue, and apparently it did. But it did start. It started to act like it was starting while I was in the air. So he brought it back down, and it started. And since then, we've been pretty okay. But I'm not going to let my wife, well, she's driving it now, but I wasn't going to let my wife drive that vehicle knowing that the starter may or may not be able to get her home. That's, it's definitely not going to happen.
So the upper control arms are good. That was just done. These ball joints that they were just done. Outer tie rods look good. Lower ball joint looks good. Front brakes are thick. Got about 80% on a bit left.
Where?
On the front brakes, they got about 70 to 80%. They don't need to be changed.
All right, because they said they did an oil change and they changed the brake pads.
Well,
did they or didn't they?
From what I can see, the front brakes were changed recently. The front shocks were changed recently, but these are very cheap shocks.
All right.
This is an indication that, the wetness here, this wetness here is the indication that the engine oil pan is leaking. Either it's the engine oil pan or the rear main seal.
All right. So that couldn't be from when they changed the oil?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
I mean, that's argumentative.
All right.
See, the oil pan is bone dry. Is this 4-wheel drive? What's rear wheel drive?
2-wheel.
2-wheel? Okay. Oh, there's no axle? No, there's no axle. Okay. Looks bone dry. So far, looks bone dry. I like what I'm seeing so far, except for the shocks. At some point, I got to replace this. I'll tell you that right now.
The shocks,
Yeah.
they will be.
Yeah. But because this is a Denali, you're gonna want the. In fact, I ain't gonna lie, this is looking really good so far.
All right.
See, this is. Let's see. This is Arnott Engineering in the USA Assembly. This is Arnott. This is the brand that the dealership uses when they don't want to use yet. So this is the brand. We'd have to put these in the front. You see Arnott, right? So this brand is the brand that all manufacturers use this brand.
Yeah.
Whenever, like, so let's say if we was to put shocks on these instead of going from the dealer, these are like half off.
Okay.
And same quality. They take them. Matter of fact, if we was to replace them and they was air shocks, Arnott would want the old ones so they can rebuild them and make them just like their manufacturer specs. But they're their own company.
Okay.
Yeah. So
All right.
let's look at these tires. So tires have some life in it.
What are we looking at? 3-4 months?
About 3 months.
All
These
right.
tires have to be replaced quite often.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless you get the super expensive ones. Which on this case, you may have to. So you gotta address that.
Oh yeah, nail in tire.
Now remember on your on Betty, on yours, this was the issue. This was disconnected and it caused the light to come on.
Oh, the white one, yeah.
And then when we put this connector right here, we have put that back on and the light went away. You remember that, Jermaine?
Yep, I'm never gonna forget that.
They were trying to charge him $1,500, just connected it back, boom, sister, all the light just went away. And these people are evil.
Yep, I never forget that.
We were just going over the car. And I was like, yo, Jermaine, I see this light. This brake's just been done too. Let me see. Yeah. Got about 90% left.
On the brake pads?
Yeah.
All right.
This solid, bro. I ain't gonna hold you. This is a win.
Well, they said this was owned by an executive who just had his own driver, so he never drove it, and yeah, he just drove it everywhere, so it was all highway miles.
I mean, other than the tires, you just have to keep in mind, put about. You can't really go cheap on this vehicle.
Nah, it wouldn't be.
Yeah. I would go with Bridgestones, Hancooks, mainly Michelin's with these.
What about the Kumos? Are they good for this? If they make it the size?
They're not for Denali. Denali is a different suspension system.
All right.
So you get a different ride.
All right.
This suspension system is similar to the Silverado / the
Oh, the air ride that we had?
yeah, it's similar to the Suburban.
All right.
But the Denali's are more expensive than Suburbans for a reason. This is the top. And then the Escalade ride is different than this. Escalade suspension system is different.
All right.
Same.
So, after, all right. So I told the mechanic about 3 days of right of decision, and Alex did say that if I find anything wrong in the next 3 days, I can bring the vehicle back and they'll fix it with no problem.
The inspection. After I finished the inspection and brought the vehicle down, the vehicle wouldn't start. This here is the location of the starter. This is the wire that goes to the starter. This is the Power Pro and the most advanced Power Pro valve that we have now. And as I'm giving it voltage, you see first, but when I give it 12 volts, you hit the starter, try to engage. There it goes. You have an inactive starter.
Alright, so we're gonna try to remotely start the vehicle. And nothing happened. So you see it's not the battery because the lights did flash. So I'm gonna wait a few more hours and try again later, and then we'll try from inside. All right, no problem. Okay, so on day 3, September 13th, 2023, on Wednesday, at 10:17 a.m., I sent him a summary via text message, basically letting him know everything that the mechanic found. And I did tell him that the starter had an issue. At 10:23 a.m., he called me back and he said that they could order a starter, and if I bring it in, they'll change it for me. So you'll hear that right here in his voice, so I'm not making this up. He told me that. So I tried to get time to come in, and he told me he has to schedule it and then I can bring it in. I asked him to schedule it and let me know when to come. He agreed, and then the call was disconnected.
What's wrong?
Yeah, I took it to the mechanic last night, and he said that the only thing he's concerned about is the starter. Because we were trapped there last night for like 30 minutes. We couldn't leave. And when he checked the wire, he said it had intermittent connectivity. So it starts most of the time, but sometimes it doesn't start.
All right, so good just to bring it here and we change the stuff.
All right, cool. I'll be there around...
But let me first up things that you make appointment because they have to also order the starter.
Oh, yeah.
To bring you here, so just without nothing.
Okay.
Order the thing, so when you come in here, we take the old one and put the new one. That's it.
All right, so just let me know what time and I'll make sure I'm there.
All right.
All right, yeah.
So on day 4, which was September 14th, 2023, which is a Thursday, at 9:57 a.m., I texted him to see if they made an appointment yet. At 10:34 a.m., he replied stating that he was trying to do everything and would call me at the end of the day. I told him thank you and that I need to notify my job, right? So I thought at that point everything would be taken care of. I thought everything would be fine. But remember what I said, this is a dealership and most of them, I'm sorry, I've been to a lot of dealerships and I just don't trust y'all. I've been to many and you all have tried to lie or cheat or steal in some way. So that's just the way it is. All right, so when we got off the phone, or when I, stopped talking to him, when it ended, that was the last time I heard anything from the dealership at all. Now, remember, this is day 4, September 14th, 2023, on Thursday. At 5:11 p.m., I instructed my mechanic just order and install the starter and then let me pay for it. The dealership was inconveniencing my wife and she was not comfortable being able to drive her truck that we paid a lot of money for. I gave it to the dealership. They never had a problem taking the money. It's only when they have to spend it then there's a problem. So there's no way I was going to let the rental go on for another week and keep paying for it. So my mechanic was shocked that the dealership still didn't do what they promised to do, which, to me, they're a dealership. But this is expected from salesmen. I'm sorry, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Salesmen at car dealerships are just terrible people. I haven't come across a good one yet. Maybe my mind will change one day. Who knows? But so far, haven't seen one. Anyways, so on day 5, 9/15/2023, which is September 15th, 2023, which was a Sunday, right? It was already clear that Alex wanted to wait until after the 3 days so he could completely ignore the problem. And then, of course, he could just say, well, it's past 3 days, so we can't help you, which, whatever. So GM did send a starter, but it was the wrong one. So the mechanic didn't put that in. But the next day we did bring it back They delivered the right starter. He put that in. Everything is fine. There's no problem. So the vehicle is now in perfect working condition where it should have been when we bought the vehicle. Like I said, I paid a lot of money for this, and the dealership owes me the money back that I had to pay for the starter because your salesman lied and said that it would get replaced, and it didn't. So all I can tell you, if you're in the market to buy a car, right, there's a few things you need to do. First of all, make sure you have your own mechanic. If he can't come with you to check out the vehicle there, make sure they put in writing that you can take the vehicle to your mechanic, get it checked out, and then bring it back if he doesn't approve of it or doesn't agree with it. Because you don't want to be stuck with something you have to spend a lot of money for. That's just ridiculous. You don't want to do that at all. All right. Secondly, you have to go into this knowing that you're going to be lied to. No matter if they tell you that they don't lie, they treat people like family. I mean, Massey Yardley said that. There's no family. They don't give a damn. Unless your name is Massey or Yardley, they don't care. I mean, you've heard their logo. You see what they claim. The fact of the matter is, they wouldn't drive a car, or they wouldn't sell you a car. They will drive themselves. That's what they say, right? The fact is, I know none of them, nobody in that family is driving a car with a starter that may or may not work at any given time. That's the way it is. So, take it with a grain of salt. I strongly suggest you have your own mechanic, whether you take him with you or take the car to the mechanic. You have to have a mechanic. There's no other option because these car dealerships are snakes and they're so evil. You have to have a mechanic. I looked out, the vehicle was in excellent condition, but then again, I have my own mechanic. So there's that. The salesman will make small talk. He'll try to be real friendly. I mean, he joked around with me saying that Jamaican people always have their own mechanic, to break the ice, so to speak. He wanted to break the ice, so that's what he did. He broke the ice. But, I was only listening for certain things. Going with your own financing makes a big difference. And to me, when I went with my own financing, I didn't have to listen to everything, just a few things. I already knew my wife liked the truck. I liked the truck. We already knew we could pay for it, so that's not a problem. No big deal. But those people who have to go to the dealership to get the financing, all I can say is buyer beware. But I just wanted to take you all through the past few days. She's happy with the truck now. I'm happy that she's happy. That's the main thing. As you all know, I mean, whoever's been watching this channel from before, you've seen the black Suburban we used to have. That truck had to unfortunately go. I had to sell it and get rid of it. That video was supposed to be on here before this one, but Massey Yardley convinced me that this video needed to be put out as soon as possible. So as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to go and file all the complaints that I can. I need to make sure that everybody knows about that dealership. I mean, if you even just search Massey Yardley complaints in Google, you will find a lot of complaints. On their website, though, they seem to have only nice compliments when it comes to comments. Of course, they're not going to put the bad stuff. I mean, it's their website. I wouldn't expect anything different, but don't worry. I have a copy of all that stuff so you can see it all. But I'm saying don't go to that dealership. And definitely, if you have to go, or if you decide to go, bring your own mechanic. I can't say that enough. Bring your own mechanic. Don't listen to anything that salespeople say. Don't listen to anything the staff says at all, or the service team or anyone. Don't listen to anybody in there. Go in there knowing what you want and test it yourself. Check it out yourself and buy it if you want it. Only if you want it. Other than that, don't buy it there. You know, the best thing to do is to buy a car cash. You know, it works out for me because I don't plan to keep paying for this vehicle long. But for most people, no, you buy a car that you can afford to buy. Buy it cash. If you really must finance something, then make sure it's in excellent condition before you finance it, because you don't want to pay for the financing and repairing the issue that's with the vehicle. Also, make sure you get your own independent warranty. Don't let them pressure you into buying any warranties from the dealership. Doesn't work out. It never works out. Remember this. The dealerships are in this for their own best interest. They only want to do things that benefit them. They only think about themselves, and they're only going to do what saves the dealership money. That's the way it is. Unfortunately, that's just the truth of the matter. Now, as for me, the mechanic did say that the front shocks are the cheapest shocks you can put on that vehicle. They're in good condition, but they're cheap shocks. The oil that was in the vehicle, I mean, you can tell it's the cheapest quality because it's real thin and watery, and you know, he thought that there was no oil in there because it's so thin. You know, the oil he uses is thicker. And I know what you're gonna say with the viscosity and everything. That's not what I mean. You know, mechanics know there's cheap oil and then there's good quality oil. So just keep that in mind. You know, but ultimately, if you're buying a car, treat it like your own teeth, and treat it like your own hair, and treat it like a family member. You have to check everything out from beginning to end. I have a spreadsheet actually I made. I think it's got like 20 something columns of things that I need to check off before I can even think about purchasing a vehicle. And then after that, I let my mechanic check the vehicle out. You know, so there's a lot that I put a vehicle through. I went through 27 vehicles before I settled on this one. So that tells you right there. But anyways, I'm not going to keep you all much longer. I just wanted to take you on this trip with me to Massey Yardley. Go ahead and research it. You know, when I'm done, research Massey Yardley complaints. They have an F on the Better Business Bureau, so that should tell you right there what they're all about. I only care about themselves. It's the first time I ever went there. I don't like Dodge or Chrysler, so you know, you Dodge and Chrysler people out there, don't hate me. I'm a GM guy, just like there are Ford guys. You know, we like what we like. Anyways, peace, people. I'll see you all next time. Enjoy. Stay tuned. There's going to be more videos about traveling, more videos about vehicles, more do-it-yourself videos. There's going to be a lot. So I will see you all next time.